Good morning, Unity of Tustin. Hey, another beautiful day. We're so blessed. Welcome to our Sunday morning meditation garden service. Welcome to all of you here present with us today and all of those of you at home watching us online. Special welcome we have some returning visitors who haven't been with us for a while, so we want to welcome them. We're so happy that you're here, and to any first-time guests. Musical guests today, we thank, of course, our very own Carol Roman, and our entire day is actually blessed with our very own. So we also have Annette DeFontes, who will be our musical guest today as well. So looking forward to that. With us today is Valerie Sheppard. We love having Valerie with us. She's going to be talking about fight, flight, freeze, or flow, and giving us some information, I think, some perspective on how to look at that. Just a couple of announcements today. First of all, just any of you who are men and have not joined the MUTs, that's the Men of Unity of Tustin, they have a meeting at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, and I know they'd love to have you. And for any of you that are a part of the MUTs and maybe didn't remember the meetings Tuesday, please tune in. Dr. Marge Britt, our Senior Minister Emeritus, has been doing a class on 100 Days of Prayer. And it's been really fabulous, actually. I can't, it's Thursdays at 1 p.m., so I'm not able to actually listen live, but I've been listening to the recordings, and they've been really great. A lot of different people from actually around the globe have been attending, and you can join anytime. So if you'd like to join her Thursday at 1 p.m., please tune in. Again, access to all of this information on all of these classes is in our weekly e-blast that we send out. So if you're not on that, if we don't have your email address for some reason, please let us know. Next week, Reverend Blair will be with us, and we just wanted to put this out there ahead of time. If it's raining, we will not have any setup here on the campus at all. It will be 100% streaming. So we will send a note out to you all, letting you know ahead of time if that's going to be the case. But I think some of you may have thought maybe we would set something up, out of the rain or whatnot, and we're just not really able to accommodate that. So just wanted to let you make you aware of that. Sunday volunteers needed to do the cameras, so another plug for that. And really probably the most important thing that we have going on today is it's Super Bowl. And it's our Super Bowl of caring. So something that Pam and Arnie have actually sponsored for many, many years. As we know, people eat all day today. There's a big need for food. And so they're going to be doing a collection for the Super Bowl food, or the food bank at St. Paul's Church. So they'll be at the end of the session today, end of the service today, sorry. They would be at the table right back here and would love to, take any donations that you feel you can offer. So with that, have a beautiful service today, and I will hand it off to Annette to bless us with Surely the Presence.
Good morning, Unity. It's a beautiful day. Sit back, open your hearts. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the
Feeling the presence washing over us, moving into us, moving us. May we be a light with the energy, knowing that we are that. May this presence break us open in the places that are recessed in us, the places that call to us to notice, to engage, to dance, to own, to express, to be. May we recognize this presence as the power inside and around all that is. And may we remember that we are that. So be it, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning. Today's daily word is inner peace. I express the peace of God. Peace, be still. With these words, Jesus claimed his authority and calmed the stormy waters. Following Jesus' example, I too claim authority. In a stressful moment, I center my awareness in the divine presence that lives in me and expresses through me. This divine presence is perfect life, love, and wisdom. It is peace that nothing and no one can disturb. No matter what may be happening around me, at the center of my being there is always peace. It is an aspect of my divine inheritance, as near as my next thought. I release all fear and tension and embrace the peace of God. As I do, divine peace radiates from the center of my being. It clarifies my thoughts, calms my emotions, and relaxes my body. In every situation, I am a presence of peace. And the Bible verse is from Isaiah. Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. As me, and where I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lifts my feet. And where I live, beauty's flowing freely in and out and through me. As me, and where I doubt, God is the faith in where I work. Love is my career, and where I play, God is playing boldly in and out and through me, as me. Where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and be, where I sing, where I dance, my dance, my dance, wherever I go, where I pray and take and give and live, God is, God is, God is, God is.
So beautiful. Thank you. Good morning. So let's get ready for a connection. For this meditation, let's try like bringing your awareness from this exquisite source of so much energy and drop it down. Let's just drop right out of our heads and into your solar plexus, like right here in your power center. See if you can drop your awareness there. So awareness as what's calling to me in this place, as well as your focus. What do I want to bring to, through, and from this place? And as you breathe through your solar plexus now, allowing even the automatic in and out of your breath to be placed there. Your solar plexus, third chakra. What are you noticing? What are you holding? What is breathing you more than you are breathing it? And is that serving your sovereignty? What is this dynamic unfolding here? And is it serving you? See yourself being you, doing your life in the energy of what's there. Connect to it lovingly, without judgment. And allow it to speak to you. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? And without judgment, just be a vessel of welcoming, whatever it is. Does it have jagged edges? Is it upset? Are you perturbating about something? Is it a void? What wants you in that space? And just create a relationship with this aspect of you as we go into some silence. Just rest in relationship to this aspect of you in the silence.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free. As I continue walking in this mystery, I surrender to my greatest good. I release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Carol. Bless you. So here we are. Good morning again. We are potentially, some people would consider us well into 2021 now. I don't know if I'm yet completely on my game, but it's happening. Like whether we're on the game or not. Get with it, Valerie. And so when I think about February, we're into another Black History Month. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, you may have seen, or I invite you to check out my little post relative to this celebration. It may not have been what you would think. I have a couple problems with this celebration. In a nutshell, it's certainly better than nothing. It's certainly better than nothing. But as a society, I think we can do a lot better. A lot better. And I'll stop there. And so thank you for that little applause. I appreciate that. That wasn't what I was expecting to get. And in fact, I wanted to use this moment, this transition from that potentially divisive or inflictive commentary to ask you to go back to that place in your solar plexus. To like check in right this moment and what's going on. Like, ooh, what did she just say? Ooh, I don't know if I want to go there. Ooh, what's going on? What's that about? What's mine to do or say with this question? Like, how are you relating to me? Hello, all you out there in Facebook land. How are you relating to me as a result of the statement, of the commentary? It's really an interesting question. How do we relate to and with what's going on in us, as us, through us, around us these days? How are you relating? Synonyms: connected to, associating with, allied with. There's a word we hear a lot right now, allied with. Are you aware of what individual feelings are being triggered and potentially what they're calling to you about? So in the meditation, I invited you to create a relationship with anything going on in the solar plexus and to notice what that is. Your power center, your core, just below the heart. What's going on there? What's it triggering within you? And the title of today's talk, Fight, Flight, Freeze, or Flow. Are you consciously choosing your state of being? Is about that. It's about that dance with the energy that we are at any given moment. Not just in monumental situations where we think of fight, flight, and freeze as a giant dynamic happening. And what I'm calling you into is noticing the subtleties of those energies that may be inhabiting, and not just inhabiting quietly, but running you. Like, in some cases, if you're at all like me, running you amok. Like, really running you amok. And so I chose this topic because I'm calling myself into encouraging and expressing less fight, flight, and freeze in my life. Aware, deeply aware, that I ran on those energies almost solo all the time. It was just a dance between fight, flight, and freeze, fight, flight, and freeze, fight, fight, and freeze. But there actually is another F. There's another F that's really powerful when we allow it to run us. Not the other three, but this one. And it's not about agreeing. It's not about having the same point of view. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, I'm totally fine if I say we need to do better around whatever we're calling Black History, whatever, in this country. And some of you are like, well, I don't agree. That's fine. The question is, can we do the agreeing and disagreeing in the energy of flow instead of in the energy of fight, flight, or freeze? Are you with me? There's a major difference. So what I'm talking about, this exploration that I'm inviting you into, is about conscious self-awareness and conscious choicefulness, meaning I am the master and commander. That means over my thoughts. That means over my vibration. That means what comes out of me in expression in any form. I am choosing. I am choosing. You are conscious beings of choice. As my dear friend, extraordinary master teacher, and whisperer to CEOs, Fortune 100 CEOs, Satya and Raja would say, you are conscious beings of choice with co-creative power over all the experiences of your life, all of them. And you each contribute to the creation of us as a collective consciousness, as like a third entity. 1 + 1 = 3. There's us individually, each of us, and then there's what we do together as a sovereignty at a different level, a collaboration, a co-creation. In social consciousness, we are at once individuated fragments of the divine, and we are one, and we connect, and we collaborate, and we create, and we express, and we dance. Can you feel that? Yeah, I kind of get jiggy with it. It throws me a little off balance up here. I can feel that energy moving, and it's big. Can you feel that? Will you allow that to play you like a finely tuned instrument? Everyone just take a deep breath here. So back to the 4 Fs. So the 4 Fs, this was one of my favorite explorations with my students in my UCI course, Living 101, Being Happy and Whole. And in fact, it was a session, one of the few in my course, where I actually invited a guest expert to come and play with us. And he is master energy healer and a family constellation specialist at the Art of Heartful Living Institute, James Wober. And James and I created this experience with my students that was all about having them awaken to vibrational energy, awaken to the concept that they are carrying fragments of the divine within them, and that it is at once connected to every living being. And so we would stand them across from each other, and they would put their hands up to one another, and they would be taken through a guided meditation. They'd be taken through several different aspects of fight, flight, and freeze, so that they could start to tune into the instrument that they're carrying as them, and to notice. My students were a lot like I was most of my life, and maybe you can relate to this. I often walked around in a low burn of fear, but I didn't know that's what it was. But it was like a low, I didn't feel safe, and I didn't know, I wasn't awake. I didn't know that I didn't feel safe. And so in this quest for my students to have greater self-awareness as the avenue to greater fulfillment and greater success and more fun, we wanted them to start to feel themselves, especially in relation to the rest of the world. And not only feel themselves, but to be able to claim, oh, this is that. Oh, this that I'm feeling right now, it's that. And that I'm feeling is this. And to be able to get to the points of separation and know within any given moment, here's who I'm bringing. Here's who I'm being. When I speak, when I stand, when I connect, when I collaborate, what's actually running me? So fight. typically characterized as out of balance masculine energy. Also, potentially, the wounded masculine, characterized and resulting in behaviors that are aggressive, attacking, suppressing, forcing, taking, annihilating, annihilation energy, can be as part of fight. In everyday behavior, it might look like yelling at the TV, which might be happening today depending on which team you're rooting for. Flight, out of balance or wounded feminine, resulting in behaviors that are contractive, running away, avoiding, withdrawing, escaping. Might be the master when you hear yourself saying, we don't have those conversations here. We don't talk about that. Avoiding, escape avoidance behavior is flight. In most cases, and I say most meaning when there's no danger, real danger, life-threatening situation, it's something that probably isn't serving you. Although we can create some really good intellectual alibis about how it does. And then freeze. Like a rabbit. Imagine a rabbit, like munching. And then all of a sudden, it stops and it checks to see if it's safe. Frozen in place, disassociative, disconnecting. Human behaviors could be procrastination. I tell my students they're in a state of freeze when they're sleepy, when they're trying to study. Something's going on that isn't serving them. And in all of these forms of numbing out, take us away. Calgon, take me away. Now that's a form of numbing out I think is okay no matter what. Especially with some bubbles and a nice glass of Bordeaux. So all of these forms of numbing out, all of these forms, fight, flight, and freeze, they're triggered by something going on in the amygdala, the primitive part of the brain. It gets triggered by something, and it sends chemical signals that put us in this place, preparing for something horrible to happen that we then have to protect ourselves from. And let me just be very clear. There is nothing wrong here. There's nothing wrong here. We need the amygdala. It's a divine aspect of us. We need to know when there's a signal that's alerting us that we may need to fight, flight, or freeze. Not a problem. These states serve us when we need them. The problem comes in when you are unconsciously spending time in fight, flight, or freeze when you could consciously shift into flow. When you could consciously be inviting the energy of flow into your experience, and most importantly, through your expression. Through your expression. Why? Because through the laws of the universe, your expression is creating your experience. So if every time that you found yourself in fight, flight, or freeze, you're holding yourself in a vibration that's not serving you, why would you keep doing it? If every time you consciously or subconsciously or unconsciously choose fight, flight, or freeze, it guarantees, through law of reflection, law of attraction, law of karma, hermetic principle, that you're going to keep creating more of the same, which means you'll have more experiences that trigger you into more fight and flight and freeze. Why would you keep doing it? Why would you keep doing it? And yes, subconsciously, unconsciously, whatever, you are choosing. To make no choice is a choice. To not investigate who you're being and what's going on, there's a choice in there. There's a choice. For many, it's a choice by default. For me, a large part of my life, it was a choice by default. It was a choice in reaction, not in response. It was an autopilot state. I talk about in my book, Living Happy to Be Me, Dancing Your Soul Light Style, I talk about being asleep at the wheel of my life. Being asleep at the wheel. I was very successful as an asleep at the wheel person. I was a vice president at one point in my career. I was running $1 billion portfolio. I was doing a lot of moving and shaking. And I was asleep at the wheel. As spiritual as I was and had been since I was 13 years old. And my grandmother gave me my first copy of the Daily Word. Why am I here? First copy of the Daily Word, age 13. For the longest time, when I moved to California, I didn't even really realize there were actually brick and mortar churches that were unity churches. My girlfriend in Florida said, "Why don't you try and find a unity church?" And I was like, "They have those?" Reading the Daily Word for 30 years. So let's talk about flow and this idea of something other than autopilot. Consciously choosing the juicy and deliciousness of consciously aligning with flow. Heart-centered, present in this moment, open, connected, allowing cycle of reciprocity, allowing, loving unconditionally, in harmony with the river of life, the river of life, the river of life. And this is not talking about Pollyanna, surface sort of, everything's fine. How are you doing? I'm good. That's not what we're talking about, right? That's not at all what we're talking about. I'm talking about something that's deep. Why did we go to the solar plexus? Because we carry a lot of stuff here. A lot of people, hopefully none in this group, this audience, are walking around in various forms of PTSD all the time. Unmanaged stress, unresolved resentments, old energy that pops awake when the least little thing flicks it. Those things are a problem. Those things are what we're talking about resolving in order to be in this exquisite state of flow. So this is all about how do we help you marinate in the flow, even though we know the other 3 F's are going to happen. You're going to go into fight, flight, freeze. The question is not avoid fight, flight, freeze. The question is, how quickly do you notice where it's coming from? If that's serving you, make a conscious choice to decide what to do about that, and then shift right back into flow. It's like upset, whoop, back into flow. Oh my God, oh, back into flow. What the? Oh, back into flow. Right? Because what's happening is people are going, well, what the? And they're staying there. Not just for minutes, but for hours, and sometimes days, and sometimes weeks, and sometimes, heaven forbid, months, and sometimes years. and I was doing that. It's tiring, and it's not fun. And awake beings, come on. What are we here for if it's not for the fun? So here it is. The first thing, when you want to marinate in the juicy goodness of life, the first thing you have to do, especially in the what I teach, consciousness, human dynamics, self-mastery, mastering you in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever life brings your way. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Exquisitely managing whatever your life brings your way. Why? Because your life is bringing it your way because it serves you. It's for you. So the first thing is to make noticing what you notice about you in your life a groove that you are constantly in, a constant groove of, oh, there I am. Oh, there I am. A constant groove. And a groove that you don't go to begrudgingly. Oh yeah, I got to do that self-mastery stuff now. The groove that you are thrilled to be in. The groove that you know holds the key to the most magnificent experience that you could possibly have in the realm called Earth. As an incarnated, individuated fragment of the one true, most high, divine, unconditional love that you are. So one of the examples for me of doing this, notice what I notice about me in every situation, lovingly observe and shift and experience. I'll be in conversation with someone. A lot of these conversations are on Zoom right now. And we'll be in conversation, and all of a sudden I'll feel a wave. I can feel the wave. How many of you can feel it when it's starting to overtake? And I can feel this wave of energy, and I'll say, just a second, I can feel some energy coming up. I don't have to judge the energy. I never judge it as good, bad, right, wrong. I just acknowledge that it's getting my attention. I pull my attention and awareness back from the person in the conversation into me. And I have a conversation. I'll take a pause. I'll relate to the energy. I might share with the person, I'm feeling a lot of anger right now, but I'm not sure where it's coming from. Lately, it's been waves of sadness. So sometimes there are tears. Oh, that's funny. Sometimes there are tears, sometimes not. And then if I can resolve it in that moment, it might be something related to this conversation, and it came up to let me know there's something there I might want to go deal with later. If not, I write it down and I get back into center. Again, whoop, okay, allow the wave. Feels like it's quieted now. Get back into my center and continuing on. So there's a conscious moment there. And there's a pause, like, oh, time out. And I come back into the right space for me. And so I want to talk about that. The energy of that is flow. Flow. And so when I was listening to different things, preparing for this talk, and I listened to a meditation on Insight Timer. Do any of you like Insight Timer? I love it. And now they've got all these free classes, and wow, wicked, yummy. So I listened to one, and it was by Skip Jennings. And believe it or not, he had an acronym for flow. And I was like, search and reapply. I think I'm going to use that. So here is the acronym of flow. Faith, love, openness, and willingness. So let's look at all of these. Faith. Complete trust or confidence in someone or something. I often tell my students, faith is seeing light with your heart when all your eyes can see is darkness. Faith requires you to quiet the rational mind so your heart intelligence and its intuitive wisdom can be heard. So when I tune into faith, I hear all is well here. Everything is very, very right. And that can be in the midst of a fight, flight, or freeze moment, but I'm choosing to tune in for a message of faith in the midst. Faith in the midst. Everything is very, very right. You might have heard an aspect of that in the second song today by Faith Rivera, sung by our beautiful Annette. I will surrender. And I also find it in the chorus of one of my favorite hymns, Great is Thy Faithfulness. And what I like about when I tune in to Great is Thy Faithfulness, great is Thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, Thy hand hath provided. Great is Thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. What that reminds me of in a moment of fear, in a moment of leaning backward instead of forward, in a moment of closing down and protection, in a moment of fleeing, in a moment of, I don't know what to do. What that chorus reminds me of is when I can't find my own faith from inside me to express, is to remember the faith of the faithfulness of the divine on my behalf. That even though it may look like or feel like what's happening is not what's supposed to be happening. No, this is not what I ordered. This is not what I asked for. This is not what I want. When I can shift back into flow, it's usually on the handle of reminding myself of the faithfulness of the divine in my life, in my physical body, in my heart. Even in the absence of faith in a situation turning out the way I might want it to, I can choose faith in the presence of the divine, fulfilling its promise to me. Are you feeling the flow of that? So then love. A Course in Miracles, lesson 229 says, love which created me is what I am. Love which created me is what I am. Loving as you means activating the divine essence that you are as an individuated fragment of the one true principle of all creation. All creation. The energy of love is the highest vibration on the planet. When I tune into love, really tune in from the depths, not from the mental machinations of my mind and what I've been taught about love, but from the depths of my being that is already that. Tuning in to feel that. Like we did in the meditation, I asked you to tune into your solar plexus and what's trying to own you from that space. What is that? And when I tune into this energy, I feel an infinite expansion while being held in an embrace of a compassionate container. A compassionate container as I release a delighted exhale. Yes, Lord. Are you flowing yet, people? Openness. Lack of restriction. Openness speaks about accessibility. Openness traits two things I love: imagination, and maybe a key to the imagination running, curiosity. Openness breathes through imagination and curiosity. Openness entails vulnerability, because vulnerability is happening when you open yourself up to aspects you're not aware of, or you don't understand, or you don't know, or that are new to you. The newness in the world that's inside flow comes from your ability to openly receive something we're not really trained to do. In fact, we spend a lot of time justifying receiving by saying you receive automatically whenever you give. I disagree. They're completely different. They're not dependent on one another, but they cycle together. And when you cut one off and only focus on giving, there's a problem, an out of balance nature that ends up happening in your life. So the openness that we're talking about is about the experience of maybe even something we think we know all too well, and that we are willing to go into in a frame of mind and heart and system, operating system, that maybe there's something new and more for me now. Openness is about maybe deciding you don't have all the answers. Anyone besides me willing to raise their hand that they are a recovering know-it-all? That there are some things in our lives that aren't going to be up to us, like that other out there. Not up to me. What that other chooses, not up to me. And in that openness and that curiosity and that vulnerability and that imagination, stepping in anyways, choosing to be in relationship anyways, thinking about the risk as the upside potential. Can you feel yourself flowing? And then lastly, willingness. The W, willingness. Readiness or preparedness of the mind to do. An inclination toward something. An inclination. The inclination inside willingness is enthusiasm, excitement, freedom from reluctance. It's a leaning forward. It's a what? What are we going to do? What did you say? It's a leaning forward. It's an open-hearted expression of tuning in. A willingness. Deepak Chopra talks about flow. One of his quotes is, "Don't try to steer the river." And one of the aspects of willingness is to notice that the river is being a river. That's its divine energy expressing as it was meant to express. And that our job is not to steer the river. Our job is to pick the most exquisite boat and set sail. To pick the most exquisite boat and set sail. Flow. Faith, love, openness, and willingness. And if you're still skeptical that you can get there, that you can be it, that you can express it, that you can shift yourself in a moment of noticing. In a moment of noticing, whoops, I slipped out. Whoops, I've got to fix this. Whoops, I deserve to be my highest and best, even though what is presenting to me in this moment feels very difficult, is certainly not wanted, and not very good. I will flow. If you're still skeptical that you can do this when life's happening, I will close with this gift from Rumi. Rumi is one of my favorite mystics. He didn't title his poems, so there's no title to this. But here's what he said. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if there's a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Jalaluddin Rumi. Flow. Flowing in conversation. Flowing in relationship. Flowing with trauma. Flowing inside disagreement, flowing through sorrow, flowing with whoever comes. Flowing through your lives. You are that. You are that. Breathe it into being in all your momentary and situational doingness, which means you have to breathe yourself into an awakened state of noticing you. The management of ever-present things to-do list, the management of the dynamics of the river that you've chosen to be on. Create your oneness. Sink into your oneness with flow. Yes, hummingbird, thank you. Wake up to and always remember the truth of who you are. Thank you for allowing me to serve through this message. And now we'll have another gift from Carol and Annette. Many blessings. Aho, Ashe, Amen.
Before we do that, we'll have our love offering blessing. That's okay. That's all right.
Whoops, but I'm going to go back into flow. I didn't do anything wrong. I love myself. It was so perfect.
It was perfect, yes. And I want to take a minute to thank Valerie for being with us today. She always manages to do something that leaves me with this I really have to think about that. I really have to sit with that for a while. And I also want to thank our beloved Annette DeFontes for being with us today, not just singing Surely the Presence, but all of her other gifts for us. Thank you, Annette. And of course, all the people that make our service possible. And really, at the base of all this is all of you that, with your tithes and love offerings and donations, allow us to do this every Sunday. And to continue doing this, to continue to have these lovely grounds and all of the things that bring us to Unity of Tustin. So I thank you for your giving, and I thank you for thinking about ways to be part of this community, more than just coming, but also to participate with your gifts, your treasures, your time, your love, your support. We need all of that to create this community. And so let's say our love offering blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now we'll have another song from Annette.
This next song is part song, part chant. So if you feel the resonation within you to Om to yourself, please join. One world, one voice, one heart, one love, one world, one voice, one heart, one love, one. One world, one voice, one heart, one love, one world, one voice, one heart, one love, one. No more separation, peace for every nation, one. No more fear and lonely, only joy of knowing one. One in mind and spirit, be still and hear it, one. One world, one voice, one heart, one love, one. One world, one voice, one heart, one love, one. No more separation, peace for every nation, one. No more fear and loathing, only joy of knowing one. One in mind and spirit, be still and hear it, one. As each soul voice, one heart, one love, one world, one voice, one heart, one love, one world, one voice, one heart, one love, one.
Thank you, Annette. So before we close, you know the usual announcement about one person at a time in each of the restrooms. And Jack Ragland is here with us today again to pray with you in the garden. Maybe you want to pray for the game today if you have a particular attachment. And also don't forget about our collection for Super Bowl of Caring. Arnie and Pam have their footballs ready to collect, so we ask you to think about supporting that. So let's say the prayer for protection before we close. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth and be in the flow.